Hi guys, this is Luke Bartelos,
Everman.
and this is the Four Balls in a Walk podcast 2. And today we're going to be discussing most surprising MLB players from every playoff team. So this is the 2020 MLB playoff bracket. It came out as of yesterday.
The
Obvious.
Redbirds snuck in.
Yep. The Cardinals snuck in like Evan thought, but barely. So basically that's the bracket. The Rays are playing the Blue Jays, Cleveland playing the Yankees, Twins playing Astros, A's playing Sox, Dodgers playing Brewers, Padres playing Evans, St. Louis Cardinals, the Cubs playing the Marlins, which is a very surprising playoff team. No one thought that was going to happen. And then Braves versus Reds.
You can watch all the series on TV.
So first surprising player for the Rays is Josh Fleming. I mean, this is pretty crazy. You'd think it'd be someone like Brandon Lau or Austin Meadows who is leading their team, or Tyler
But
what's his name?
Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, but
What?
Josh Fleming's playing.
5-0.
He's 5-0 with a 2.78 ERA, 25 strikeouts, a WHIP at 1.08, 32 innings pitched. I mean, that's pretty crazy for some guy that's been almost unheard of and unknown before the season. The next player we have is from the Blue Jays, Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, this is
Who
crazy.
thought this guy would have 16 home runs and a
289
19?
or 1919 OPS. He's on the IL right now, but I think he'll be back for the playoffs. But he is batting 289 with 16 homers, 34 RBIs, 919 OPS, and last year he batted 230.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Next, this is not a really surprise. I mean, he's a surprise for being this good, but I mean, pretty crazy. We knew he had it in him, but we just didn't know when he would come out. The White Sox surprising player is Jose Abreu. I mean, he's having an amazing season, batting 317 with 19 homers, 60 RBIs, OPS at 987.
Almost won the Triple Crown.
Almost won the Triple Crown, and his slugging is up by 120 points from last year.
Yep.
Next, we got the Yankees surprising player who is pushing for AL MVP, Luke Voit. He is currently batting 281 with 22 homers, which I believe leads the American League. With 52 RBIs and an OPS at 958. He has more homers in these 55 games this year than he did in 118 last year. So that's pretty crazy.
Pretty good. And he's making a run for AL MVP.
Next, we got the Oakland A's surprising player being Chris Bassett. Chris Bassett is 5-2 with a 2.29 ERA, 55 strikeouts, WHIP at 1.159, and 63 innings pitched.
Not giving up the long ball. Gave up 21 and 25 starts this year.
Oh no, that was last year. Or yeah, he gave up 21 and 25 starts, which is 84%. Wait, no, that was last year. Sorry. And then in this year, he's given up 6 and 11 starts, which is 54%. So he's gone down, 30% on the home run rate, which is pretty insane. Yeah. Especially for the Oakland, their problem has kind of been pitching. And maybe he can help them get pretty far and deep into the playoffs. The next is the cheaters, the Houston Astros. Surprisingly, no one that was like a big part of the cheating accusations are actually playing that well this year. But Kyle Tucker is playing amazing.
He is
271 average, which is second on his team, which is pretty crazy considering the Astros have one of the deepest lineups in baseball. 9 homers, which is second on his team. 42 RBIs, which leads his team. And then Evan, go ahead with his OPS.
844, second on the team.
And then the reason he's surprising is because he is second behind their all-star George Springer in almost every stat that he's like leading the team in. So he's second behind Springer in average and home runs, and RBIs and OPS. I believe all of that.
Yep. Coming up next, we have the
Minnesota Twins DH Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz is batting .308 with a whopping 16 home runs. At the beginning of the year, I believe he was leading the league, but then he kind of slowed down, or maybe not slowed down, but Luke Voit
33
sped up.
RBI.
Yeah, he has 33 RBIs with a 1.004 OPS. The reason he's pretty surprising, one is that he is 39 years old. And at one point he was leading the league in home runs, but obviously Luke Voit is now over him by I believe 6 homers.
Yeah, 6 homers.
The next is the definite, in my opinion, AL Cy Young winner by far. For the Indians, Shane Bieber. He won the Triple Crown this year because he had the most wins, 8-1, the best I believe ERA, Evan.
Yeah, ERA.
1.63 and 122 strikeouts. That's how many strikeouts some people get in like their whole season. He had, I think, not career, but starts or season. I think he's had 10 starts maybe, and he's had 122 strikeouts. WHIP at .866 with 77.1 innings pitched.
Yep.
Obviously, the reason he's surprising is because, he was a Cy Young. He pitched super well in the second half last year, but not so well. Somewhat well in the first, and I guess it must have carried over. He also got 14 strikeouts in his first outing against the Royals, and he's also most likely to win Cy Young for AL, most probable, won Triple Crown. There's not really either. There's other choices, but he's definitely by far the obvious choice. Moving on to the National League, we are going to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
Evan, take this one.
Tony Gonsolin is our pick because he's 2-2, and he has a 2.31 ERA and 46 strikeouts and a .836 ERA.
No, whip, not ERA.
Whip. He's a young guy, pitched the same amount, and dropped the ERA. That's about it.
He pitched the same amount as last year, dropped the ERA by .060.
Yeah.
More strikeouts.
Down
by 2, walks per 9, and up by .6 for strikeouts per 9. Next, we have the pitcher with the nastiest changeup in baseball right now, Devin Williams. He's 4-0 with a .33 ERA, with the 53 strikeouts, a WHIP at .630, 27 innings pitched. The reason he is on this list is because, first of all, he's a rookie. Second of all, one of the lowest ERAs, I think, of a closer in baseball right now that's actually pitched the amount he has, not just pitched like one game and gave up no runs. High strikeouts for a closer, to be honest. And he is 17.7 strikeouts per 9. Obviously, he's a closer, but that's the calculations that Baseball Reference gave us, that if he was he's pitching 17.7 strikeouts per 9, which is absolutely insane.
If the Brewers make a run, he will be like the lead of that run.
He and Josh Hader are both insane closers, but obviously Josh Hader wasn't really surprising this year, pitching around the same as last year, and he was an all-star last year, one of the better closers in baseball. Moving on to one of the most surprising teams in baseball, not because of they should have been bad, but they're really they're a young and electric team. But the most surprising player on that team was Dillinson, or whatever how I say it, Lamet. He is 3-1 with a 2.09 ERA, 93 strikeouts, WHIP at .855, and 69 innings pitched. Evan, and then Evan, go ahead and say why he's surprising.
Last year he had 4 more innings pitched and has only let up half the runs. ERA down by 2 for basically the same amount of innings.
All right, next moving on to Evan's Cardinals. Old Uncle Charlie, Adam Wainwright. He is 5-3 with a 3.15 ERA, 54 strikeouts, with a whip at 1.051, 65.2 innings pitched. And then Evan, go ahead and tell us why you
He
think
is
he's surprising.
39, and he has thrown 2 complete games, one on his birthday, and he's limiting the hits and walks.
Yeah, limiting. He's kind of throwing the long ball as he usually would, but he's limiting the hits and walks. And if he can just
Yeah.
let up a long ball and nothing else, that's 1 run. The
Yeah.
next we have the Cubbies, and this is really one of the more surprising players of 2020, Ian Happ. His average doesn't say it all, but just everything else does. I mean, he's batting 258. He doesn't really. He actually he walks kind of a surprising amount, but with 12 homers, 28 RBIs, and an OPS of 866, surprising because he leads off and had the same amount of at bats as he did last year. I believe because of injury, and every stat of his has gone up. OPS, OBP, average, slugging, WAR, everything's gone up. Next we have the most surprising team of MLB 2020, the Marlins. Their coach Don Mattingly, I believe his name. He said that obviously their whole team was out for 2 weeks, and they had to bring up some guys from like a lot of their players were out for 2 weeks, so they had to bring up some guys from like alternate sites and AA and AAA affiliates. And Don Mattingly even said on an interview that he didn't know half the guys on his team at that point, but they somehow made a push for the playoffs.
And their motto was, "Why not us?"
Yeah, why not us? Which is kind of weird because they've always you'd always think that they would have made the playoffs with one of those teams. They have like Yelich, Stanton, Ozuna, Fernandez, Realmuto, but they made it with a really weird and awkward team. But I guess they're in the playoffs. Our surprising player for them is Miguel Rojas, who's quietly having one of the more awesome seasons in 2020. He's batting 304, and he's not a power. He doesn't have a power with 4 home runs, but with around a third of the play appearances, he has 1 less homer. He has 20 RBIs and an OPS of 888.
400 on base
and 400 on base percentage, which is pretty crazy. Has almost as much homers, obviously, as he did with a fifth of the plate appearances, not a third. And he has around a 500 slugging. I believe it's like 496, but we round up because that's pretty high. Pretty insane for a really odd and weird Miami Marlins team.
Moving on
to our second to last team, Atlanta Braves. Evan, you can take this one.
This one hurts as a Cardinal fan, but Marcell Ozuna, he's batting 338 with 18 home runs, almost won it, and 56 RBIs and OPS, a shocking of 1,067, and had a down year last year, starting to see that Miami Marlins All-Star player.
Oh yeah, they're starting to see that Miami Marlins All-Star player from 2017 again, starting to see glimpses of him. And last but not least, the team I'm cheering for in the playoffs are the Cincinnati Reds. Also known, if you watch the Trevor Bauer vlog, Cincinnati Buds. Their most surprising player, who in my opinion is going to win Cy Young over Yu Darvish this year, being Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer is 5-4 with a 1.73 ERA, 100 strikeouts, a WHIP of 7.795, 73 innings pitched. And the reason that he's surprising is obviously Cy Young pitcher. Everyone kind of knew he had it in him, but he just didn't bring it out really in Cleveland. Since going to Reds, he's been pitching amazing. Last year, his ERA was about 5.00 points more than it is now. And the crazy thing about Trevor Bauer is he's only given up 2 earned runs off of not home runs. So if you don't get a homer off him, you don't get earned runs, which is pretty crazy for pitchers. For a pitcher, I mean, even a starting pitcher, not really giving up a ton of earned runs off hits, just all homers. Obviously, a lot of lefties take him deep because I guess of the way his slider gets into them and the way he throws. But otherwise, he's not really giving up the long ball. Oh, Sorry, I had to switch slides. Yeah, that's Trevor Bauer. He's having one of the best seasons he's ever had, and one of the better seasons of any starting pitcher in baseball right now.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was the podcast. That's the MLB 2020 MLB playoff bracket. That's who we believe the surprising players of those teams are, and we believe those players are going to help in a very, very major way to these teams to lead them to do great things or win games against other talented playoff teams.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Peace out.
Peace out.